The City of Johannesburg will be moving beneficiaries of the temporary relocation area strategy away from Rabie Ridge today. The Metro's mayor, that's Geoff Makhubo, together with MMC for Housing, that's Mlungisi Mabaso, will be assisting with this plan. The initiative is aimed at alleviating overpopulation in informal settlements. For now, they'll be taken to a temporary accommodation site. The question is, where to after that? Well, our Sipha Kema is monitoring the story and joins us now in studio for a bit more. So, Sipha, we've heard of this before, and perhaps as a start, let's take a few steps back to understand this initiative, how much government has thrown into it, and what the objectives are.
Well, as you mentioned, Ayanda, that of course this is part of government's plan to de-densify informal settlements. As we know now, during the pandemic, these are areas that are highly vulnerable when it comes to the pandemic in terms of having a lot of people in one area, really overpopulating the areas. So they're looking to ensure that by moving others, it's going to create space for free movement around those informal settlements and areas. And I mean also, we know the conditions of informal areas or in terms of water and sanitation, which they do not exist, Ayanda. And those are two things, most important things that are needed during the pandemic. Now, this plan or this initiative actually was announced by the Minister of Human Settlements, Lindiwe Sisulu, where she said that government has actually partnered with civil society organizations to ensure that they resettle different parts of informal settlements, that's your Eastern Cape, your Gauteng, just to try and de-densify the areas. Now, 4.6 billion has been put in through this program by the Department of Human Settlements to ensure that these temporary sites are built and they're able to accommodate these people that are moved from the areas to the sites, of course, ensuring that there's enough water, running water that is, and also sanitation for people, obviously trying to create a more better and safer environment for them.
Absolutely. The big question, of course, look, COVID-19 has certainly helped us accelerate processes that we should have started years ago in any case.
Sure.
And so I guess perhaps you can take us through what some of the issues have been insofar as getting this process underway, considering that it is long overdue.
Definitely long overdue, and I mean, it is quite sad to see that it took a pandemic to get some government programs or initiatives to actually fast track during the time. If anything, Ayanda, I think the pandemic has actually shown South Africans that government is actually able to deliver at a fast and quick pace. Processes are able to be shortened as compared to what we have previously seen, where we're told that it takes some process to ensure that something needs to be signed off, needs to be okayed in order for certain areas to have water. I mean, we saw JoJo tanks be delivered in rural parts of your Eastern Cape. Kwakwa has had water crisis for a very long time,
That's
but
right.
they were able to get JoJo tanks there in a short space of time. Now, Ayanda, when it comes to this temporary relocation of people, it's not the first time that it has happened in South Africa. It goes way back. I mean, there was also an initiative in 2007 where certain people were moved in areas. We're talking about that Blikkiesdorp as well, where, I mean, they've lived there for years, and people are saying, I mean, from this temporary shelter, where to? When are we finally getting housing, proper housing? So I guess that is the question that we should now be asking next. Moving people from Rabie Ridge, where to after the temporary placement? But of course, it doesn't mean that relocating them temporary doesn't come with its own successes. It does. We've seen, I mean, in parts of people from informal settlement near your Rhodoport were actually moved to Vleerhof, and those were permanent houses and actually proper houses that they were put in after being relocated from informal settlements to temporary placement.
All right, Sipha Kema, thanks very much indeed for getting us into the picture so well. We'll see how this particular bout of relocation turns out, but of course you'll be on top of all those details. Sipha Kema, our reporter here on Newzroom Africa.